Now, you got married under the age of 30.
Right.
And I'm assuming that you and your wife are either the same age or she may be younger than you, which makes actually her the modern woman. But I guess the modern woman is pretty much described as a woman nowadays who are not considered as traditional, right?
Hmm.
So I wanted to ask you, from what you have seen and what you have coached, because you coach majority of women, and no, I'm not trying to like put Kev in a hot seat, but I just want to know your professional opinion. Is the modern woman marriable? They just need some work, or should the modern man really just give up and just keep on playing in the streets?
I think modern women and modern men are equally fucked up. And I talked to, I'm just, it just is what it is. And
Yeah.
these are the types of videos I make that all of a sudden the yeses and the praise hands emojis disappear. You know, it's like I'm offended right there. I get hate now. I'm offended. But
Yeah,
this, like,
Kev will post his disclaimer too. I saw that
yeah,
last one. Like, look, y'all.
You've been
this
warned.
is, yeah.
Yeah.
I think, I think modern men are just not the type of, like, structurally, they aren't structuring relationships to be the man. Many of the other modern men actually want to be treated more like a woman used to get treated. You know, they want to be wined and
Mm.
dined and get their feet rubbed, all these different things.
Mm.
But
God.
modern women, in an effort to defend themselves, have taken on the toxic character traits of modern men. Yeah, well, two can play at that game. It's not to
Mm.
be played like that, right? Yeah,
Right.
we can both piss off a bridge, but it ain't to be done. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't make any sense for women to utilize or overutilize their sexuality for their empowerment. There's nothing empowering about laying down with a peasant man who doesn't respect you, doesn't love you, and would never give you anything more but some dick. There's nothing
Mm.
empowering about that. But they feel themselves that if they're making the decision to do something stupid, then it's empowerment. And I feel like, I'm not saying every time a woman lays down for pleasure is stupid, but I'm saying when you lay down with, even if you're having sex for pleasure, and be selective. Like, I'm gonna
Yes.
be honest, I'm very glad I don't have to pick a wife out of the bunch of dating apps out right now, because most of the women have acclimated to what the modern standard is, which is you give me some now, I'll think about it later about a relationship. Right? I'm
Mm.
sorry, I'm old school.
Mm.
I don't want a woman that's just been giving herself to any kind of man I don't respect. I gotta respect a woman's ex-boyfriends to even talk to her. That's just,
Damn.
I need, and this is just my preference, man. I have to be able to understand why you made that decision, because your decisions in the past give me some insight to your decisions in the future. It's not about guarding or protecting or policing. Policing the pussy is what they keep calling it. It got nothing to do with that. I need to know that I can trust your decisions as a wife, as a partner. I need to know that you're as strong mentally and emotionally and intellectually and logically as I am. I need to know that when I'm not around, I ain't left no weak, broken, cracked link behind, right? That's
Mm.
making decisions that are counterintuitive, counterproductive, and don't go along with our goals and the lifestyle we're living. So for me, it ain't even about the sex. It's about the decision making. Who have you bound yourself to? Who have you given access to you? How selective have you been? And not just choosing your man, but your friends and stuff like that. For me, modern women have tried to and are creating a culture, just like modern men are creating a culture that they disrespect women. They're bringing back misogyny like never before.
Mm.
Modern women have brought this culture of this whole culture is getting out of control,
Mm.
and it's because it doesn't serve them. Take guarding their sexual parts out of it. It doesn't serve a woman to be bounced around by a bunch of men who are having unprotected sex with dozens of women,
Mm.
don't respect women, don't believe in relationships. They throw themselves at the feet of these men as an example of why these men don't want relationships. Because you can't trust a woman who can't make decisions to protect herself, to protect your heart, right? How can I trust my
Mm.
wife to protect my heart when she doesn't protect hers,
Mm.
right? Because she's trying to mimic men instead of be the full power woman that she has the capability and the potential to be. So modern women are as effed up as modern men, but for different reasons. and in different ways. And so I think that, obviously there are good people on both sides. I wish that the moderns would just get together and go be modern together and leave everybody else that wants real love, real companionship alone. But that's not how it happens, right? There are casualties of war. And at the moment, we're seeing a lot of casualties, a lot of people getting caught in the crossfire of the new woman trying to be more like a man, and the new man who want to be the woman in the relationship.
God.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he calls it alpha, but he's acting like a woman. Modern women are screwed up because they're trying to figure out how to survive. The defense mechanisms that they're coming up with are foolishness. If women are watching this and they want to know how to survive this weird ass weak place that a lot of men are coming into because they're watching this social media stuff, old school, restriction, boundaries, self-respect. The same principles apply. Do not give yourself to an unfit man, and make sure that if you give yourself to a man, it's to celebrate that he's given his heart to you. It don't have to be marriage if you don't believe in going wait into marriage. It don't have to be forever, but a man should at least love you or be trying to love you and be asking for a commitment before you lay down with him. Otherwise, hell, 10, 12, 30 women later, all of y'all been with the same unfit man. All of y'all got the same trauma. All of y'all slightly damaged, and all of y'all run into a good guy that now you don't believe because you was with that unfit man. Because you trying to be empowered. You still catch feelings. There ain't no empowerment if you loving everybody you laying down with, and they just don't want you.
Weave. Somebody caught my attention in the chat. It was an accountability one, and this wasn't us. A young lady. I believe it was a woman's pic that I saw. I'm paraphrasing because it flew by fast, but she said, us as ladies lowering our standards blew it for us all. Weave, how many times have you heard this one? Is it true though? I mean, let's think about it. Everybody loved the quote unquote Pookie and Ray Ray. I ain't gonna lie, I was a Reese. I was a Ray Ray, but I was still a Reese. Women didn't have no problem sharing me, even though I didn't want to be committed to anything way back when. So now you're a coach. They can't let go of this dude who don't want them. They can't let go of this dude who don't want to offer them a commitment. This is a modern woman. But damn, men that get it in, really that don't want to be in a commitment, are sexy as hell. They put it down. What would you advise a woman who's in a situation like that if they're like committed and having a heart for just a man who is sexy but don't want shit to do with him in commitment wise?
That there's still some previous unhealed trauma, and don't take that shit to another new man. Because at the end of the day, that tells me that you're still broken. And if you're still broken by somebody from your past who's not allowing you to grow forward, who's not watering what they want to grow, at the end of the day, when we water dead plants, what happens? Nothing. You don't grow personally. And if you're unwilling to let go of that toxic relationship or that toxic bond that you feel like you have with a man, like at the end, like it's not going to help you move forward with any type of movement that's going to allow you to move into a new and meaningful relationship. My goal, if I'm someone who's dealing with those types of previous traumas, is to hopefully get to the point where I realize that there's some type of unproductive boundary setting that I have been doing. There's something that's getting crossed that I'm allowing to continue to get crossed. There's some type of wire, there's some type of miscommunication that I'm not having that's keeping me stagnant, keeping me going back to what broke me in the first place. And if I'm already unwilling to let go of that, how could I ever productively move forward into something that's going to be fruitful? And if I don't heal before I get into that, if I don't work on myself, if I don't get back to taking the time to feel like me again, because of how upset, how broken, how much I keep running back, I'm going to be in this, it's going to be a vicious circle for months or years on it. And the funny thing about that is as men, we'll continue to allow that shit to happen. We'll let her keep coming back, right? If you're that guy, you're gonna allow that to keep on happening. So
I'm guilty.
Am I willing to let myself say, If I'm that woman, if I'm willing to let myself say, hey, look, I have standards, right? I have a certain expectation level that I have out of myself, right? To Kev's point, do I have those type of that willingness to say, you know what, I'm enough with the bullshit. I need to have higher standards than what I have right now, and I need to productively move forward into having a relationship with someone new that doesn't always have to jump directly into sex. It doesn't always have to jump directly into a relationship. You ever hear that, like, people, oh, I'm a relationship person. That tells me that you never heal. You just, when anything that makes you happy, let me just jump into that shit right now, because it's temporarily blindingly from the shit I just had to deal with in the past. So can I put myself now here and say, let me live in this present moment? Because right now, I'm in my whole phase, or right now, I'm in a phase where I keep running back to my ex. And it's unfair to me to move on to another new man, knowing goddamn well that at the end of the night, I'm going to be texting him at 12:30 tonight when I get home, and wondering what he's doing, and wondering if he's still thinking about me. That toxic type of relationship that you had with that man, you have to break that bond. That's your problem that's your load to carry. Ain't nobody else gonna carry that for you. And if you carry it into a relationship with a good man, he gonna think something wrong with him. Man, am I not putting in the type of work? Am I not asking her the type of question? Some guy that is ready for that next step. Now you ruin that.
And now he's watching Kevin Samuels.
And now he's watching.
No, see, Kev was. I knew I was waiting till that. Kev was not going. He was waiting to wait. He was waiting.
He gonna get his back.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, bro.
What's wrong with these women out here? What's right now?
He's gonna find a solution.
Yep. He's gonna go watch some. To your point, he's gonna go watch one of them red, black, purple, blue, orange pill videos, and now he's putting himself in a position where he's thinking that, all right, well, the coolest is I gotta act like an asshole in order for me to get what I want.
But he also it also grows his disdain. So you can only act for so long before you truly are what you act, right? And if you've experienced rejection, or you liked a woman, you did everything right, you were trying to be a good man, you truly believed you were what's best for her, and she was what's best for you, but then you find out that after your date, that she didn't even, let you get past first base on. She's texting some guy. He's telling her, get in your car. I know you're tired. I know you got to work, but come over here and give me some, and then go back home. Can't spend the night. And then she does that. And then you find out that after all the effort that you give, some guy who doesn't want her, who she's trying to figure out how to convince, is the one who's getting access to her heart and her body. But she's using your gas money. She's using your date money. You're paying for movies. You're paying for this. You're paying for that. And you also investing in her problems. You know about her auntie sick. You know about her homework due. You know about her mama getting on her nerves, because you're the emotional crutch and you're the validation. But she gives the body and she gives the heart to another man. Then you go on a red pill station. Then you go on some alpha male content. You're tired of this shit. You're trying to figure out how to get better results. Eventually, their programming seeps into you because it resonates with you. These bitches ain't shit. You know what? You might be right. Well, this is how you start with, oh, I'm going to go here. I'm going to learn how to get the woman, and then I'm going to go be a good man to her. But if you sit long enough, that programming takes over. That programming is these bitches ain't shit. No. We fuck them to sleep over here, like alpha male strategy say. He makes sure that you understand that we disdain women over here. It's the rule. So when you get over there, first you respect these guys because they have what you want, results. But then you start listening to the programming. And just like church, I don't give a damn what religion you are. Go to another church for 3 months and see if you don't believe what they believe. If you think you're a Democrat, if you think you're a progressive right now, watch Fox News, listen to conservative radio for 3 months without listening to anything else. In a vacuum, you are programmable, and all of us are programmable. And these men start to program themselves, not just with needing the results, because they experienced a woman who had a toxic relationship, who was unhealed, who had trauma, who let them be good to her while she was good to someone else at the same time, right? He takes that trauma to that relationship coach who tells him to F women, fuck these bitches. In turn, eventually he's like, you know what? You right. You damn right. Now he believes that. Now he's not just acting like an asshole. He's practicing giving that toxic energy that he was giving back out to the world. Another woman who's never done anything to him never did anything to anybody, just wants to be loved by one person, likes nice guys, is looking for it. He knows how to play nice guy because he used to be one. He gives her that
Mm-hmm.
trauma. They pass this bullshit and this trauma back and forth to each other, and then both of them stand across from the alley at one another saying, all bitches ain't shit, all men are dogs. It's
Yep.
like, what are we doing here? We're letting the injured, the blind, the deaf, and the dumb lead the argument and lead the charge on relationships, and it's unfortunate, and I'm not sure how we get out of it with social media. Social media gives everybody a microphone.
Oh yes, it
And
does.
to that point too, Kevin Reese, now you have that disdain. If we're bringing this all the way back, now how do you view marriage, right? How do you look at that commitment that that you didn't want to make, you were hesitant to make in the first place, but now because you come from that broken past, how are you now digesting that as food for thought for moving forward? Because now you're 28, 29, 30, 31, 32 years old, and you've had this breadcrumb of fucking broken and past toxic relationships in your past. So how now do you say, you know what? I think I'm about ready to, man, let me go grab this ring right now.
You know.
Like, yeah, like it's a total mindset shift.
Somebody once again in the chat made a very good point, and it was something that I was paraphrasing once again because it went by so fast. They said, if you are just upfront with your intentions in the first place, then obviously no one is going to get hurt. I wanted to go ahead and address that real fast because I was the dude who let women know, hey, I'm not the boyfriend type. But the problem was I was good at it. Meaning if I could be a boyfriend, I really could. Like I did have the potential to, because I cared about the woman. Like I know we have, like you said, fuck these hoes to sleep. No. It's like, yeah, I slept with them, but I held them. I didn't want them to go home. Next morning, I'm up in the kitchen and I'm scrambling eggs for you. I still treated you like a lady, and that is my bad because that's what happened. See, and then of course, I've heard the stories about the other guy, the nice guy, the good guy, the square or whatever. But I was the best of both worlds. I was like, basically, I was the forbidden fruit. You couldn't have me commit to you, but you can have me whenever you want sexual. I took girls to the movies. Like I did everything wrong that a lot of these red pillars did because it's like I actually cared. I even told somebody like, you need to go be with that guy. He like you. I just don't know. Trust me. Like you don't want to be with me because when you dip, I'm gonna call the next chick. Well, I'm gonna stay, so you won't call the next chick. And it's like, oh, so I'm kind of stuck. And that's when you got to be like, you know what? It's been fun. And I've broken hearts like that. And now look what happened. They probably grew up and now they're watching your videos, Kev. I'm sorry.
Many of us have had that opportunity. I would show up to dates and women would be butt naked. I've shown up to 3 dates where I didn't even they just butt naked. That's how they came to the door. That's the most awkward shit you ever seen.
I haven't even had that one yet.
If you really trying to be a good person and everybody's opening the door with a towel or without a towel, or still in the bathtub, like I'm in here, like I've had that opportunity. I think the difference between me and you, I've always had this rule because I've seen a lot of broken women growing up. And I did a lot of AA meetings as a child because my mom was in AA. So I watched a lot of lead meetings of people talk about their relationship history and how it led to alcoholism, drugs, crack, whatever the drug was, the fix was. And a lot of the women started out in terrible relationships. And even as a 5-year-old kid, I was noticing, damn, relationships lead to drugs, like over and over again. Yeah. And so I created this rule for myself as I grew older that I would never lay with a woman that I didn't have more intentions with, right? And so a lot got thrown at me, and I had options, but I just was one who, because I spent the time in AA. I seen the crack, I seen the heroin, I seen the alcoholism, I seen the depression, I seen the horror stories. I listened to them. I met the people. It was too real for me what one of those experiences with me could lead to, and maybe I'm just stuck in like a higher consciousness, but I wouldn't allow myself to take advantage. Put your clothes on, baby girl. We can't. We going to bar forever. What we doing? And that was me. And so while I could have been I could have been that guy. I just wasn't because that was my personal rule. If I didn't want you for real, I wasn't gonna take that from you because I can't give it back.
My wife unfortunately inspired this one. She said that we had a conversation about BBLs. And I was pretty much just like, that would bother me. Like if you went under the knife to like change your face or something, nose job, gotta did something to your chin, whatever. I don't know if I can just, I don't know if I can like deal with that. Just see that every day because that's not what I married. And she said, that's because you love conditionally. And so I'm like, well, what man doesn't? We usually fall for what we like. We usually end up loving what we like, what we see. That's just how we are. So I wanted to go ahead and address that. Do men are they making it harder for the ladies because now things have shifted of what they see now. They want the long hair, the eyelashes, the half nakedness, the crazy looking butts now. Is it really putting a damper on the gay dating field? Is modern men just losing it and making it harder for just the girl next door?
No, I think that's a self-image problem. You know, that's
Mm,
me comparing what I see on social media. You know, that's me having a selective perspective on where I am. You know, if I'm a woman and I just had a baby, or you know, I need that inner happiness for myself, right? And in order for me to share that in a relationship, I have to have that. I have to have that happiness for myself, right? Like I said earlier, like a relationship is not where you find happiness,
right.
but I have to be happy with the person that I am, right? There's this show my wife watches called Botched, and they do like
I
these
love that show.
reconstructive.
Yeah.
They do these reconstructive surgeries, so I started watching with her, and you'd be amazed at the level of, well, A, on the fact that how they help individuals that got some fucked up surgery done in Mexico for like $200, but
Mm,
B, on the flip side of that, put them in a position where they feel more confident about themselves. So I think that when you're comparing yourself and you follow people like Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion and like all these people flashing money, if you're a guy on Instagram or on your social media, it gives you a skewed perspective as to what you should be looking like, the amount of money you should be making. But most of us don't live those type of lives. We don't live
Right.
that flashy night scene, popping bottles kind of life. At the end of the day, you know what becomes of an unhappy young man? He becomes an unhappy old man.
mm,
If you can't learn to accept life as it is, right? To Kev's point of going to those meetings, what you learn is you learn what your perspective is, right? So as I was younger, I had a lot of friends who drank and smoked and blah blah. At the end of the day, I made the decision not to. Every single one of them did. That was me stepping out and making a decision that was going to benefit me. So if we're speaking to your wife, if I'm putting myself in a position to want to look a certain way, to give a certain type of perception, more than likely she's doing that for herself, but she's probably also doing it for you because she wants you to be happy with the way that she's perceived by you. So
mm.
to that point, I would say that's a self-image issue. That's me, not always, but that's
Right.
sometimes me comparing myself and putting myself up against what I see that you're seeing every single day
Mm.
in your business.
While you was answering the question, someone said, Portia said, men say that they're not attracted to it, but they still sleep with these men. Like they say that they're not interested in that, but they still sleep with all these women that do that.
Mm.
I wanted to just make this clear, and I think it's going to be clear, and I don't mean to be crass. Men jack off into socks. Just let's be like women think that because a man is experiencing sexuality with a woman that he fetishizes, that means somehow or another that she's more valuable than another woman. I'm sure that everybody in this comment section is more sexy than a sock. Right, everybody in this comment section is more sexy than a right or left hand.
Well,
Okay,
I'm only laughing because the shit is true. Like, yeah,
what do we like?
we roll them dice, boy.
Like to think that a woman, because she has a BBL or a breast augmentation or anything,
Nigga, you done drove me to drink.
but like don't let a woman looking better than you or having one of those surgeries, or even if you have it, like don't think that because you have it or because another woman does have it, that makes her more valuable to a man. A man is going to get his orgasms off regardless.
Yeah.
Oh
Regardless.
yes.
So
We're visual creatures.
we're visual
We
creatures.
too visual shit.
But it just because a man will lay down with a woman does not mean he values her. That is two different things. In fact, a man, it's been said that many men are just jacking off into women. If we're being honest,
Damn.
the ones that they have a disdain for women, they don't like women, they don't want to hear them talk, they don't want to hear their feeling. Like they don't just think that because a woman is doing that or because you've done that gives you a benefit to love, because it doesn't. A man has to first have an intention to love. And with that intention, if he's attracted to you, that's wonderful. But if a man has an intent to love, even if you're not one of those women, he can love you and he can grow to be more attracted to you. No disrespect to my first love, but my first love wasn't the finest girl I had a crush on a girl that was much more beautiful and attractive than my first love, but the opportunity came with this woman, and I was like, all right, we can get to know each other. Well, I got to
Right.
know her, and she was amazing. So I started to see her for how I felt about her and what I knew about her. So she became more attractive. Men aren't just mindless, one track, like ball sacks. Like, we have some complexity in what we're choosing to wife, to marry, and to commit to. So too much emphasis is put on breast augmentations, BBLs, whether you have them or you don't. If you have them, that's great. Enjoy yourself. Do your thing and feel good about yourself. If you don't have them, it doesn't change a man's intent to love you or not love you.
Mm-hmm.
Period. And so for me, I don't give a damn about it. Some of them are done very well, and some of these doctors need to go back to geometry school or so
Some of them I'm not sure finished.
Yeah, so some of them are good, some of them are bad. But even if you end up on Botched, even if you end up on the episode of Botched, a man who has an intent to love a woman,
and half them women go in there with him, and in the room with him,
in the room with him.
If
they
she
still
if
got
she want
him.
That done, if she want that done, I think she should be happy with herself.
Yeah. Because she wants it though. She wants.
Yes,
because
that was the discussion, the debate that we had. We had this discussion in Denny's, believe it or not, and I was just like, really, okay, if that's the case, if she's really doing it for herself, how come you don't see too many people go under the knife and move off grid? They still stay here where they can still be seen. Who gets a new booty and new breasts and move into the mountains off grid?
But it's the same as, like, I work out. I like having broad shoulders. I like having a strong looking back. I like filling out a t-shirt.
Yeah, you probably like defending yourself and winning sometimes too. You look like you can take care of yourself.
I like intimidating men, being large, and I like women being attracted to me and making me feel like, oh, I still got it. And as soon as somebody flirt with me, I go right into my wife. What is you should have seen them looking at me today.
Yeah, that's me all day, bro.
It's just self-esteem management, man. People are doing this stuff to manage their self-esteem and their self-image, and I think we're putting too much emphasis on if that makes them worthy of love or not, or if that makes them more deserving if they have it. It doesn't.
Yeah, we all have that inherent need for some type of validation, and it doesn't always lead to Kev's point. It doesn't mean it always leads to love, but it makes you feel good about yourself. That type of validation makes you feel good. So.